this out.
Please keep clear and hold on.